Good afternoon, Jack. Hello, Amin. Happy Monday to you guys. H. Swan, Mike, Nookus, Belkut, Ando Bear. What programming software are we using? MATLAB. We're using MATLAB. Sad, rainy Monday. It kind of is. It kind of is. Hello, Chinghan. Hello, that guy who stinks. Brandon Parker, Squared Circle. Oh, Squared Circle, turning it around. Happy, snowy Monday. Respect. Hello, Shrek. Hello, Formula Q. A school bus got stuck in a ditch outside of my house today? Dang. That sucks. That is unfortunate. Hey, happy Monday, Trogdor. Guys, today we're doing a code along. So, the best way to enjoy this is to open up MATLAB on your computer. If you want, you could open up Twitch on your phone or something. So you have that off to the side, and then you have your computer just ready to go. But I'm gonna start putting together a template here. I do split window. Oh yeah, perfect. Split window works. But what we're gonna do is we're looking at, I know double monitor is perfect for this. But we're talking about performance specifications for digital control systems. And usually these performance constraints are going to be given to you as an inequality, meaning like they'll say the settling time should be less than 3 seconds. They won't say it's like equal to typically. Ando says, I did 15 hours of coding yesterday. Yikes. Or there'll be, I want a rise time between like 1 and 3 seconds. So these are inequality constraints. Boundaries for discrete root locations. So we're gonna build this code, all right? And there's one boundary that's obvious that we're gonna start with, which is the stability boundary. So we know that discrete time roots in the complex plane, they have to be within a distance of 1 of the origin. So they have to exist within the unit circle. So we're going to draw this boundary first. And the way I want to do this, I think first I want to define like an angle theta. And we're just going to make it go like from 0 to 2 pi in increments of like pi over 50 or something. Lots of bugs. Oh yeah, no bugs, only unintended features. Yeah, if you're familiar with Bob Ross, you know that we don't make mistakes. We only make happy accidents. Same thing goes for coding. Okay, I'm opening up another thing over here. Okay, think I want this. Okay, lens space, great. So now we're just gonna draw a circle that goes around this angle, a unit circle. So we'll have the real component. So I'll just do like Cartesian coordinates. I'll have the x, y. So the real component will be cosine of this angle, and the imaginary component of this unit circle is going to be sine of this angle. And then we're just, so this is going to make a circle. Isn't it 0 pi over 50 to 2 times pi? Oh my goodness. I'm mixing, you're totally right, you're totally right, you're totally right. I'm mixing commands here, which I shouldn't do. I don't need lens space here, because I'm kind of doing the work myself. Aren't you supposed to use commas in lens space? Not, yeah. This is off to a fantastic start. Okay, thank you guys. I was like, why is there an orange underline there? Okay, so we're gonna make a figure, and we're gonna hold this figure because we're gonna keep drawing things on top of it. I'm gonna call this. Okay, we're gonna plot. We're gonna get the real part, the imaginary part, and I'm gonna use a red dotted line for this because it's gonna denote danger, danger. And I'm putting P1 equals, like, this is kind of unique. Like, usually we just do plot, right? The reason I'm doing this is in the end, this is gonna make it easier for us to do our legend entries. Okay, I'm gonna sharpen up the axis here. Because this is gonna draw a unit circle, the edges will be at 1, and so I'm gonna make the boundaries of the window just be a little bit outside of that. And to make it look like a beautiful circle, we should make the axes equal. So it's equal scaling for X and Y. So this will draw a perfect circle. And let's make a title. Let's do all this work up front. Discrete root locations. This is in the complex plane. I'm even gonna pump up the font size here. So it's just a little easier to see. I'm gonna copy this. Wait, do I want to do that? Yeah, let's label the x-axis. And this will be the real axis. The horizontal axis will be the real axis. And then the y-axis will be the imaginary axis. Imaginary axis. Do I want anything else in here yet? Ooh, we're also going to make the tick marks a bigger font size. So like, you can use these 2 lines to set that up. So I'm setting like everything to font size 16. All right, let's run this. Let's save it somewhere. I'm gonna call this Z-plane contours. Because another name for the complex plane, when we're talking about discrete root locations, you'll hear it referred to as the Z-plane, which is kind of cool. Okay, so you see we just drew a unit circle, dotted line in the complex plane. This represents the stability boundary. So anytime we're designing a control system, the closed loop roots should definitely be, what is AX equals GCA? I don't know exactly what this stands for, but I think it just grabs the information for the current figure. Or maybe it says like grab current axis. There's some MATLAB specialist in here who knows exactly what this means. But then once I've grabbed that axis, I can just use, boom, I can access the font size set it equal to 16. Advanced plotting. Okay. Get common axis. Get handle to current axis. Okay, that's what it is. Get current axis. So we're just going to keep adding layers to this code. Okay. Things are a little scattered today because I accidentally started an update on my tablet that I usually write on. And it's just been giving me all this trouble, so we're going to go back to the Stone Age here. Wait, I want to go to here. And I'm actually going to write on a piece of paper. Ranger says it's that line of code you see online and don't understand but keep using because it works. That is a truth that all of us know about for many things. I just use it because it works. I know how it functions. Don't know exactly what it means. Okay. Let's add our next layer. So we know that we're going to be stable, but let's talk about settling time constraints. So let's open this up. Okay. So we have this, the plus or minus 2% settling time. So the time it takes for the response to get within 2% of where it's finally going. This is a popular performance constraint. It has this approximate relationship. The settling time is approximately equal to 4 over the damping ratio times the natural frequency. So we might have a constraint that looks like this. We want the settling time to be less than some nominal value. Maybe it's 4 seconds, 5 seconds, whatever. Okay, so that means we're going to have 4 over this is going to be less than that constant value. And okay, so this isn't so bad. It means this product must be greater than 4 over whatever that time is. All right, so what does this actually mean in terms of our discrete roots and where they can be in the complex plane? Okay, so we got to remember the magnitude of our discrete roots. So I'm going to use magnitude and phase to locate these roots. So the magnitude is this. It's e to the minus zeta omega n times our sampling period, capital T. And let's put the phase in here too. Although the settling time constraint is independent of the phase, but let's just put it. So the angle is the damped natural frequency times the sampling period. Okay, so we know to be less than a certain settling time, this product needs to be greater than that. So this product appears in that exponential for the magnitude. So we know that this is e to some negative number because every number in here is positive, but we have a negative sign out in front. So the bigger that we make this product, the more negative this becomes, and this actually becomes a smaller number. So this means that the magnitude of our roots is going to be limited, which makes sense too because we know that the closer the roots are to the origin, the faster they settle in terms of the steps they take to decay towards zero. So we're going to have this relationship. Therefore, to meet that settling time constraint, our magnitude needs to be less than e to the minus, and then I'm going to make this substitution. 4 over whatever you wanted that settling time to be, TS naught, times your sampling period here. So this is our first, this is the next layer that we're going to add to our code. When can we expect homework 2? My hope was to get that out this weekend, but I just got slammed with some other things. It could be out this evening. That would be ideal. That would be my dream. Or tomorrow morning. Sorry for the delay on that. Okay. This is the next thing we're going to add to our code. No pressure. Take your time. Take your time, man. I see what you're doing. We have the wrong video. Okay. Okay, let's add something here. Settling time constraint. All right. So we have to define some variables here. Actually, the way I want to organize this code, this part, what we just stripped there is the stability boundary. Let's make another section for performance constraints. And the first one is going to be settling time. And why don't we say, like, we want this to settle in like less than 4 seconds. So this is our maximum settling time in seconds. We're also going to have some hardware constraints, and basically all I mean here is our sampling time. So let's make something up. Let's say that our sampling frequency is actually really slow. So it's like 5 samples per second. So this is our sampling frequency in hertz, cycles per second. Just so we have this on hand, because I think I'm going to use this later, let's convert it to radians per second as well. So sampling frequency, radians per second. Okay, and then this is the variable we need at this present moment. We need the sampling period, which is 1 divided by the sampling frequency. And this will be in seconds, because we specified the sampling frequency in hertz. Your FS should be, oh, I made a capital S here. Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, so we have that, we have this, and now I believe we can implement the formula. Okay, so the magnitude of our discrete roots, at least for the settling time condition, let's call them mag TS, we have this formula, exponent of minus 4 divided by TS naught, whatever that time is, times our sampling period, T. Can I go back up? Keep up, Jack! Okay, what do you need? We're just putting in some of these variables. Okay, here we go. Okay, so we're just like when we plotted the circle, I'm going to do, because this is also going to result in a circle, although other shapes that we examine will definitely not be a circle. They'll make some interesting shapes. The settling time condition is purely on the magnitude, and we're just going to move around this circle. In fact, we can use the same angle that we had before, but this circle will have a different magnitude. So we're just drawing another circle. But we're going to use the fill command. I don't know if you've used this before. Instead of the plot command, we're going to use the fill. So we're going to take the real wait, why did I call this real unit? This is we have to call it something else. The real part for the settling time. So let's call it real TS, imag TS. We'll do the X, we'll do the Y, and I'm gonna make this in green. For the line style, none. There's gonna be no line. What does fill do? You're gonna see. You're gonna see in just 1 second. It fills a shape. Because what we've done is we've made a circle, and this fill is going to fill that circle. This alpha value makes it transparent. And like, depending on how intense you make this value, I think it just goes between 0 and 1. It makes it more opaque. Now the reason I'm doing this is we're going to make a couple different shapes, and we're going to be laying them on top of each other, and I want to be able to kind of see through them. It'll be like you're making a, I don't know, a little craft. Okay, is this all I need? Let's run this. There it is. Yes. Now, if you were to plot more filled shapes with an alpha value, you'll see that when they overlay each other, it makes like a new color too. Like you're holding up different pieces of paper and letting the light shine through. You get to see like a shadow. So this is going to be important because the goal here is, like, let's say we have a couple different inequality constraints. We want to pick our roots so that they satisfy all of the constraints at once. So this plot's going to be, it's going to make it easier for us to figure out where the roots go. Wait, what is Roy G. Biv? I've heard that before, but what's that? I forget what that stands for. Okay, so that's our settling time constraint. Rainbow. Oh yeah, the colors of the rainbow. Right. Okay. Red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, violet. Roy G. Biv. All right. So we need to keep moving on. We need to make more performance constraints. The next one I want to do is overshoot. And this makes a cool looking shape. Actually, the coolest shape comes from rise time. I don't know. It's up to you. It's kind of subjective. Okay, we got to go back to this paper. Okay, so overshoot. We're going to have an inequality constraint like this. Your percent, or your peak overshoot has to be less than something. Maybe it's like 20% or something. If it was 20%, we would put 0.2 there, because we've been using ratios. We know that overshoot is related to your damping ratio. So here's a formula that we derived for it. It's the exponent, so e to the minus pi times your damping ratio over the square root of 1 minus your damping ratio squared. So we need this to be less than something. Okay, so let's zoom out a little bit. So we're going to do that. We're going to have this exponent, and I'm going to substitute in this like damping ratio not. So I have that like 0 subscript. So this is our damping ratio that satisfies this relationship. And basically I want to solve for the damping ratio out of this. And it might look deceptively easy, and the result turns out to be, I think, what you think it is. But the inequality math, we're going to go through it because it's not straightforward. Okay, hold on. So let's first take the natural log of both sides. So that just gets rid of this exponential over here. And now we have the natural log of this. Now the reason I say it's tricky is because inequality math is tricky whenever negative signs are involved. And actually, you'd need to know the sign of every variable involved in order to properly do the inequality math. So the first thing to point out, overshoot is always between 0 and 1. So if you take the natural log of a number between 0 and 1, it's always going to be a negative number. So you have to know from the beginning that this is negative. And if this could be like greater than 1, then the math we're going to do wouldn't even work out. You'd get like ambiguous results. Okay, now this stuff over here, pi is positive, the damping ratio is always positive, and then we're looking at an underdamped system. That's kind of what we've constrained ourselves to. So this will always be between 0 and 1 for an underdamped system. So this will never become complex or anything. So all that to say, because there's a negative sign out in front over here, this number is always going to be negative. So when you're looking at this, this negative number needs to be more negative than that number on the right. And so this is easier if we then just turn it in, if we take the absolute value. So in other words, the magnitude of this number on the left needs to be bigger. So this has to be greater than the magnitude of that. Oh, this is such a drag. I have to find another piece of paper because I've run out of room. Okay. Okay, let's just keep going then. So, the absolute value of that is just the positive. So this has to be greater than the absolute value of this. So, let's just keep grinding through this. I'm moving this over to the other side. Okay, then if we square both sides, this still works out. Okay. And then I think from this point, nothing really strange happens in here. Wait, I thought inequality switched directions only with division. Well, like, that's what I'm saying. It gets tricky when there are restrictions on the amplitude of certain variables. And if things can be negative, so basically I'm trying to transform this into a more straightforward inequality by like making things positive and absolute value and so on. Okay. So we're close now. Let's just jump ahead. Let's just jump ahead. You can figure this part out. But basically, our damping ratio has to be greater than something. Greater than this. Natural log of the overshoot squared divided by plus pi squared. All right. So what does this mean for the magnitude of our discrete root if the damping ratio has to be greater than this? So our magnitude, let's just write this expression again. It's e to the minus zeta omega n. We're still taking the absolute value of the natural log component, correct? You dropped the lines, just wanted to be sure. Oh yes, so the reason I dropped the lines, so like you see the lines between here, they drop, because I'm squaring both sides. So even if this is a negative number, if I take the absolute value and then square that, that's the same as just squaring it if it was a negative. Okay, then, okay, so I need this t. Okay, so if we're saying that the damping ratio needs to be bigger than something, if I substitute this value in here, this means that this number will become more negative. So, okay, so basically we're going to have this. It's going to be a restriction on the magnitude of the root. So it has to be less than e to that damping ratio, which has to be big or bigger than something, t. So this is our thing. Okay, this is where it gets a little tricky too, because this is not as simple as the other situations, because the settling time, this magnitude doesn't change as you change the phase or the angle in the complex plane. But remember this. So the phase of our root in the complex plane is the damped natural frequency times the sampling period, where this damped natural frequency is a function of the natural frequency. So the consequence is this magnitude actually changes depending on the phase of the root as well. And I was confusing myself a little bit earlier today with this. So hopefully we can resolve it together. At one point I had a code that draws this properly, and then I was trying to remake that code this morning to make it more intuitive. And that code wasn't doing what I wanted it to do. Anyways, we will proceed. Okay, let's continue here. So we got to talk about this angle thing and how it makes things a little tricky. It be like that sometimes, I know. It do. Okay, so the angle is this. We can also write it like this. Our sampling period is 2 pi over our sampling frequency. Okay, I'm going to leave this for now. Oh yeah, I know what I want to do. What I want to do is I want to write this like this. The damped natural frequency is the natural frequency times 1 minus zeta squared times the sampling period. So I want to solve for this natural frequency in terms of the angle. All right, so let's do that first. The angular position of the root in the complex plane, 1 minus that squared times time, or the sampling period. And so what I want to do is I want to plug this expression for the natural frequency back up in here. And so now this magnitude, it'll be clear how it's a function of the angle, hopefully. At least that's what I was thinking this morning. Okay, so let's continue. Let's now rewrite this. So the magnitude has to be less than E to that damping ratio. Now let's multiply it by this natural frequency that we solved for. So it's going to be the angle, my phase in that complex plane. And then I'm going to divide it by 1 minus the damping ratio squared. This is getting a little bit sloppy. Let's put some parentheses around that because I don't want you to think that this square root carries over to here. So times t. So this right here was our natural frequency. And then we can't forget about this other sampling period on the outside. So these sampling periods will cancel. And let's just rewrite this a little cleaner. Let's use that exp command to make this easier on ourselves. All right. Times the angle. Whew, okay. All right, now we're gonna go back to the code and we're gonna try to make a shape for this. And when we make that shape, hopefully it is to our liking. All right. Okay, so we got overshoot to deal with here. So let's go first up to our performance constraints, and let's say like we have this overshoot that we want to be less than, and let's say we do, I don't know, 20%. Maximum overshoot. And this doesn't have a unit because it's a ratio. Okay, so we made that. And now we're gonna edit this. First, I'm gonna call this zeta for the overshoot. And this is going to be corresponding to zeta naught that we had in the notes that we just made. So this was the square root of the natural log of mp naught squared divided by pi squared plus log of mp naught squared. So this zeta is like the smallest damping ratio that we can have. And really we need to have our damping ratio be bigger than this. Okay, we're just gonna try this first. Because this is where things went haywire for me this morning. I know what the shape should look like, so I know what I want to get, and this is not what I was getting. Okay, so we're going to do magnitude of the root. But this is the magnitude corresponding to, wait, let's call it mag MP. This is the magnitude of our roots for the overshoot. So we have the exponent minus zeta MP divided by square root 1 minus zeta MP squared. And then I want to multiply this by the angle, and I think this is where my problem is. This is what we'll do first. We're just going to use the angle that we were using before. That was going all the way around. So 0 to 2 pi, what was that? Yeah, just theta. I called it theta. So we'll do this first. Oh, yeah. Thank you, Pika. All right. So we got this magnitude. And basically, I'm going to recycle this code that we were using to write the real and imaginary components. So we'll have like the real part for the overshoot condition, the imaginary part for the overshoot, and we'll use this new magnitude. Now notice, this magnitude is now a vector because theta goes from 0 around the whole circle, whatever. So this is a vector. Cosine of theta, that's a vector. So we have two vectors that we have to do element-wise multiplication. So it's very important that you put this dot. Your theta is inside the exponent. Is that what I want? Yes. Yeah, because where did it go? We want, yes, that angle should be inside there. So basically I just have this formula right now. Okay. So this makes sense to me, but I think it's going to give us something slightly off. Let's see. Okay, so we're going to keep updating our plot. So I'm going to call this P3 because it's our third layer. Plugging in formulas in MATLAB gives me anxiety. You're not the only one. Because what is it, like 70% of the time there's an error. But that's life. We go back, we fix it, we just say it was a happy accident. Okay, I changed the color to blue. And we're using fill, we have this alpha value, so this is gonna add on top. Now make sure that you add at the very top here, I would put a clear all and a close all, just so it refreshes everything each time. Let's run it again. Okay, so this is error using, you got an error? Error 70% of the time, that's pretty low. Okay, this is almost what I wanted. Oh, you know, I think, okay, so this is what the problem is. This shape on top, is correct. But then you see it starts to curl inward. This part is incorrect. Really, this fat shape on top should be mirrored on the bottom, and actually that would make a heart. But that's the correct shape that we should be seeing. And the reason it comes back to, oh yeah, thanks for putting that overshoot in there. The reason comes back to aliasing. I think I need to redefine. Can you paste the stab? What does alpha 0.25 do again? Alpha 0.25 just changes the level of transparency of the shape. Like if I were to pump this up, I think it becomes, yeah, it's less see-through. Whoa, and it changed all of the other ones as well. So I don't know, I picked this because it feels like a sweet spot. Nice pastel colors. Did I miss where we defined MP0? I threw it at the very top at like 0.2. Okay, what I'm going to do, I'm going to grab some code from something I know that was working, because I did this a little differently last time. Omega D. Sorry, I know this code is similar, but it's a little bit different. And I was trying to remember how I did this before. When you define alpha, it uses it for every fill. If you don't specify it, then it leaves the other ones unchanged and makes the last one opaque. Okay, gotcha. Is it because of the square root in the magnitude? I think this formula, 1 minus zeta, I think, okay, we're gonna try something else really quick, because I don't have the best explanation for it right now, and because we're running out of time, but by next time I really want to make sure we have it down. What if I come down here? What I want to do is I just want to go, wait, let's try this first. This is the same like range. So I'm just redefining theta right here. It's not what I wanted. I'm gonna try this. Wait, so this would just be half. Should the square root and the theta all be in a parentheses? We could, I mean, I could add this, but I think the order of operations is still okay. Like, so this one will make sure, let's run this. No, see, that's the same. Yeah, the theta's in the numerator. The theta should definitely be in the numerator here. I did P3. It gave me a mirrored blue part to make the heart shape. Oh, okay. That's what we need. Wait, I'm going to steal your code really quick. Oh, so you went, okay. Let's comment mine really quick. Let's run this. Okay, this is close. So, okay, the shape, the external shape is right, but the problem is really when we start getting this extra curl in here, that means we went too far in terms of the angle. So this external shape is right, but that curl under, I also want to fix that. But you guys are starting to see. Let me show you, because when we come back on Wednesday, I'll try to find a good explanation for this. We'll get this settled. And then we're gonna add the rise time, which looks cool. So in the end, this is gonna be like our end product. Something like this. Oh, if you have theta equals 0, pi over 50, just to pi, and keep the rest, it doesn't have the curl. Okay. So, you see like the green is the settling time, the blue is what the overshoot's going to be, and then this interesting red shape is actually what you get for the rise time constraint. And once we make this code, it's like I said, it's super useful within this class, but also whenever you're making a digital control system. Because think about it, at the top of this code, you put in what's the sampling frequency for my system, whatever it might be. Then you put in like settling time, overshoot, rise time, and you can quickly play with those numbers. And then what you're looking for, the roots that satisfy all of those conditions, that's where everything overlaps. And so you can like zoom in here, and you might be like, hey, I want to place a root right here. So this is where we're going. You can specify a plot to use alpha with alpha p2 0.7. Oh, and that'll just change it for that specific. So you should do positive real mag from 0 to pi, and then negative from pi to 2 pi. See, like, so we can fix it using that, but then I also want to have a good explanation for why we're restricting the angle in that way. That's what I need for next time. Do we have a homework coming up soon? You do. You do. I'm trying to get that out today or tomorrow. I know I got a little behind with it. This semester's been a little crazy, as they say. All right, everybody. So we'll wrap it up here today. Wednesday, we're gonna continue this code, and we're gonna finish making it, and it's just gonna be something in your toolbox. And then I think Friday, we're actually going to do a control system demo. Nice. It's behind. Will it still be due on Friday? No. No. I won't have it due Friday this week. Antonio, you got the heart to work? Yeah, this is a fun tool. You'll get an intuition for where your roots need to be as you change this stuff. And it actually does kind of look like an eyeball, doesn't it? It's kind of looking over here to the right. If you make your rise time slower, it blinks. If you make your rise time faster, let's see. Let's make it 0.3. The eye has opened. Even faster. And then it starts becoming like this. So the tan region, well, like this reddish region is the roots that satisfy a rise time condition. Less than like 0.2 seconds for this sampling frequency or whatever. And then this overlapping region is the only region that satisfies the overshoot, settling time, and rise time constraints simultaneously. So we'll finish that up. Wednesday. This could be like the expanding brain meme. There's something going on here. Whew. When are office hours again? Office hours are Mondays for me, 4 to 5. Can you fix the syllabus to add Nikta's office hours? Oh, that's a great point. Nikta announced her office hours on UB Learns at some point. So, like, we can find it there, but I'll put it on the syllabus. I'm making a note. I hope you guys are having I hope your week's off to a good start. Link says, will you be posting the code online? I guess I looked away for a second and you added a TR value real sneaky like. No, don't worry about that. What I was doing was showing you an alternative code that I made in the past. Just to show you where we're going with this. So you won't have the, we didn't add the rise time stuff yet. We're gonna take some time to figure that out. And actually doing the fill command for that weird shape is a little tricky. So I'll show you how to do that. And this fill command, it comes in handy for making pretty plots at different times. Maybe I can find... I'm trying to find another time I used... No, that's not it. Oh, here you are. I think this is it. Come on, somewhere. No. Yeah. Like, this is showing, like, we had people in a driving simulator and they were trying to drive in between these cones. And so, like, I'm drawing the average path if you took all the drivers and overlay how they navigate. And you see, like, most people ran into the cones over here. But I used the fill command to show, like, a statistical boundary. So the people in green, they used some kind of stability control. Was that from 454? Yes. We had the students do a moose test, and we took all their data. And then when they didn't use the stabilizing control, there was just way more variety in what people did. So, like, if you can use the fill command for showing statistical stuff, it's pretty. So it's a good one to have in your toolbox.